the vast landscape of literary wisdom, few voices resonate with the clarity and depth of C.S. Lewis. His 37 profound phrases serve as a beacon, illuminating the complex tapestry of human existence with remarkable insight. These carefully crafted expressions do more than simply inform. They challenge our fundamental conceptions of truth, morality, and life itself. As we delve into Lewis's words, we uncover universal truths about human nature that transcend time and culture. Among these gems of wisdom, one quote stands out, addressing the paradoxical nature of time and our perception of change. This collection of life-changing lessons invites us on a journey of self-discovery and introspection, promising to reshape our understanding of the world and our place within it. We'll examine 37 of C.S. Lewis's notable quotes and their meanings. 1. Everything changes. Nothing remains the same. This quote reflects on the nature of time and change. It acknowledges that change is constant in the universe, from physics to society and personal lives. However, Lewis also notes that day-to-day changes often seem imperceptible, yet when we look back, we realize how much has changed. This paradox highlights our perception of time and change in the short and long term. 2. There are far, far better things ahead than any we leave behind. This phrase encourages optimism and hope, urging us to look forward positively. It suggests that regardless of past losses or challenges, the future holds greater possibilities. This perspective can be comforting during transitions, reminding us that ending one chapter allows for a potentially more rewarding one to begin. It also warns against excessive attachment to the past, which might prevent us from embracing new opportunities. 3. Nothing in life is ours to keep. This quote can be interpreted in various ways. On a material level, it suggests that generosity and sharing can enrich our lives more than mere accumulation of possessions. On a deeper level, it implies that true fulfillment comes from transcending selfishness and connecting with something greater than ourselves. It may also touch on a spiritual truth, where freedom and fulfillment arise from detachment from worldly things and openness to others. These phrases invite us to reflect on change, hope, and the nature of possession, challenging us to delve deeper into human thought and existence. 4. Give up on yourself, and you will find your real self. This concept, often explored in spiritual and philosophical contexts, suggests that our true essence can only be discovered when we abandon our ego, superficial desires, and pretensions. Lewis encourages us to look beyond the layers of identity constructed by society, expectations, and our own ego. By giving up yourself, he refers to setting aside these superficial layers to uncover the true self that resides at a deeper level. This implies detaching from material desires, selfish ambitions, and the pursuit of external approval to connect with more authentic and enduring values. 5. Don't doubt your value. Don't run from who you are. Lewis suggests that our existence and essence have immense value simply because we are divine creations, regardless of how we compare ourselves to others or to ideals we may hold. This perspective invites us to recognize and value our own uniqueness and the unique contribution we can offer to the world. By stating, "Don't run from who you are," Lewis encourages us to confront and embrace our true nature with all its imperfections and beauties. He suggests that authenticity and self-acceptance are essential for living a full and meaningful life. This acceptance is not just about recognizing our qualities, but also embracing our flaws and limitations, understanding that they are part of what makes us unique. 6. If you find in yourself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that you were made for another world. Lewis addresses the sensation often experienced by many, that there is a kind of emptiness or longing within us that worldly joys and satisfactions cannot completely fill. This perception can lead to the conclusion that such insatiable desires point to a reality or existence beyond what is known and experienced in this physical world. The idea that we were made for another world suggests that human existence has a purpose and meaning that extend beyond everyday life and earthly experiences. This view is rooted in many spiritual and religious traditions, which see life on earth as a journey or preparation for a higher or spiritual reality. 7. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body. Lewis is challenging the common perception that often prioritizes the physical and material, redefining human identity in a way that places the soul or the spiritual essence at the center. By stating that you are a soul, Lewis highlights the primacy and eternal importance of the soul compared to the physical body, which is temporary and transient. This view echoes many religious and philosophical traditions that see the body as a temporary vessel for the soul, which is considered the true essence of being. C.S. Lewis's idea that each of you will still be alive after the dissolution of the physical universe speaks to the belief in the soul's eternal existence beyond physical death. He suggests our true essence transcends time and space, pointing to an eternal spiritual reality. 8. Don't shine so others can see you. Shine so that through you, others can see God. This concept is rooted in the Christian notion of testimony, where one's life reflects God's light to the world. Lewis encourages living in a way that allows others to glimpse divinity, goodness, and truth beyond our individual existence. This shifts focus from self to others, and ultimately to the divine, promoting a life of generosity, service, and authenticity. By shining to illuminate the path to God, rather than for self-enhancement, we're called to embrace humility and altruism, recognizing that our greatest contribution may be helping others find their own connection to the sacred. 9. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Lewis proposes that challenges are not meaningless obstacles, but tools for growth and preparation. Adversities have the power to transform us, shaping our character and refining our virtues in ways that comfort and ease cannot. This growth through hardship often prepares us for greater roles and responsibilities, leading to destinies beyond our initial circumstances. Lewis suggests a divine purpose behind life's events, even those that seem negative at first. He views the lessons learned through adversity as crucial for spiritual and personal development, teaching perseverance, compassion, humility, and reliance on a higher power. The concept that God's timing is perfect, even when we don't understand it, encourages us to see periods of waiting as opportunities for internal growth and preparation. Lewis thus urges us to face difficulties not as abandonment, but as integral parts of a larger plan leading to an extraordinary destiny. 10. Experience is the most brutal of teachers, but you learn, my God, do you learn? Lewis highlights the harsh nature of real-life learning. Unlike theoretical learning, experience educates through successes, and more often through failures, losses, and challenges. While painful, these moments are potent in building character, resilience, and wisdom. The phrase emphasizes the effectiveness of experiential learning, suggesting that lessons learned through direct consequences are deeply internalized in ways that passive instruction rarely achieves. 11. Repeated failures are fingerposts on the road to achievement. Lewis portrays failures as guiding signs, each offering lessons that point towards necessary adjustments in our approaches or understanding. These posts illuminate our path, providing critical insights to help navigate towards our goals. The concept of failing forward is particularly powerful, implying that each failure propels us closer to success rather than backward. We learn, adapt, and grow through failure experiences. This perspective encourages a mindset of resilience and persistence, viewing obstacles as opportunities for development and improvement. 12. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Lewis challenges the notion that age limits our aspirations. He emphasizes our endless capacity for reinvention, regardless of life stage. This quote invites us to reject self-imposed limitations and societal expectations associated with aging. Instead of viewing later life as a time to slow down, Lewis suggests it's always possible to embark on new beginnings. This perspective can inspire those who feel they've missed opportunities or that it's too late to pursue passions. Lewis reminds us that the ability to dream and aspire is ageless, encouraging continuous growth and fulfillment throughout life. 13. Don't let your happiness depend on something you may lose. This quote prompts a deep reflection on the nature of happiness, encouraging us to root our joy in enduring, intrinsic aspects of life rather than external, transient factors. It warns against basing happiness on elements beyond our control, such as material possessions, social status, or specific relationships. By highlighting the impermanence of many things we value, Lewis advocates for a more authentic and resilient form of happiness. This may involve cultivating internal virtues like peace of mind, gratitude, self-love, and spirituality, which are less vulnerable to external circumstances. 14. This world is a great sculptor's shop. Lewis employs this rich metaphor to illustrate the process of personal growth and transformation within human existence. He likens the world to a sculptor's workshop, where life experiences serve as tools shaping and defining us. In this analogy, humans are akin to unfinished statues, continuously molded by life's forces, circumstances, interactions, and potentially divine influence. Each experience we encounter carves our character, shapes our values, and influences our life path, contributing to our ongoing development. The idea that some statues might come to life alludes to the possibility of spiritual awakening or enlightenment. This awakening represents a state where one becomes fully cognizant of their purpose, essential nature, and connection to something greater. It can also symbolize a moment of personal fulfillment where an individual transcends their previous limitations to emerge more authentic and fully realized. 15. We are mirrors whose brightness, if we are bright, is wholly derived from the sun that shines upon us. This comparison suggests that our value and radiance are not inherent, but reflected from a larger external source, symbolized by the sun. This source could represent various concepts such as love, truth, beauty, or in a spiritual context, the divine. The notion that our brightness is entirely derived from this external source underscores our dependence on and connection to something beyond ourselves for finding meaning, purpose, and illumination in our lives. Lewis further reflects on the importance of keeping ourselves clean and bright to maintain a clear view of God. This reinforces the idea that our ability to perceive and reflect truth and beauty is influenced by our inner state. Much like a dirty telescope obscuring the view of the moon, our perception of the divine or life's deeper meaning can be clouded by our faults, biases, or spiritual neglect. These metaphors invite us to consider our personal growth as an ongoing process shaped by our experiences and our relationship with higher truths or spiritual realities. 16. C.S. Lewis identifies two types of people: those who say to God, "Thy will be done," and those to whom God ultimately says, "Thy will be done." This distinction highlights a fundamental difference between individuals who willingly submit to divine guidance and those who insist on following their own path. When a person says, "Thy will be done," They express a willingness to align with God's purposes, prioritizing divine wisdom over personal preferences. This voluntary submission is viewed as an act of faith and trust in God's benevolence and authority. Conversely, when God says, "Thy will be done," to an individual, Lewis suggests that God grants them the freedom to choose their own path, even if it leads away from Him. This represents divine justice and respect for human free will, allowing the natural consequences of one's choices to unfold. 17. Lewis's statement, "I have no duty to be anyone's friend, and no man in the world has a duty to be mine. No claims, no shadow of necessity. Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art, like the universe itself. Like art, God did not need to create. It has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival, offers a profound reflection on friendship's nature and value." Lewis emphasizes that friendship, unlike basic necessities, isn't essential for physical survival. However, this very unnecessariness elevates friendship, along with philosophy, art, and the universe itself, beyond mere functionality. These elements enrich human experience, adding meaning, joy, and depth to life beyond basic survival. By stating there's no duty in friendship, Lewis suggests that genuine relationships should be based on free choice rather than obligation. This underscores authenticity and voluntariness as crucial aspects of meaningful friendships. The comparison with God's creation of the universe illustrates that something's intrinsic value may lie in its beauty, complexity, and ability to inspire, rather than its practical necessity. Thus, Lewis encourages us to appreciate friendship, art, philosophy, and the universe as gifts that make life not just bearable, but profoundly valuable. 18. You will never make a good impression on other people until you stop thinking about what sort of impression you are making. Lewis suggests that consciously trying to shape others' perceptions often backfires, coming across as inauthentic or overly effortful. This insight encourages a more genuine approach in social interactions. When we replace concern about our image with authenticity and presence, we're more likely to form genuine connections. Authenticity fosters an openness and vulnerability essential for meaningful relationships. Moreover, excessive focus on our image can distract us from truly engaging with others, as we're more concerned with how we're perceived than with the interaction itself. By letting go of the need to control others' perceptions, we create space to be ourselves, which is often more attractive and impressive than any carefully constructed persona. 19. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Lewis emphasizes that loving inherently involves risk. Opening our hearts to others, be it people, animals, or passions, exposes us to potential pain and loss. However, he argues that the alternative, completely avoiding this pain by isolating oneself, comes at a much higher cost. While such isolation might protect the heart from hurt, it also cuts it off from experiencing true love, one of life's most enriching experiences. Lewis presents a paradox. In trying to make our hearts unbreakable and impenetrable, we actually render them unredeemable. A heart never exposed to love's risks loses its capacity to love and be loved, becoming hardened and insensitive. 20. What draws people to be friends is that they see the same truth. This quote underscores the importance of intellectual and spiritual connections in forming deep friendships. Lewis suggests that true friendships are rooted in a mutual recognition and appreciation of certain values, ideas, or fundamental truths that transcend superficial circumstances. This view implies that friendships aren't merely based on convenience, physical attraction, or social circumstances, but on a deeper connection involving the discovery and acknowledgement of shared truths. These truths could be a common understanding of life, moral principles, shared passions, or similar worldviews. Sharing these truths involves not just recognizing them, but experiencing and exploring them together, providing a solid foundation for lasting friendships. Such friendships tend to be more resilient and enriching as they're based on mutual appreciation of significant aspects of being. 21. Love is a steady wish for the loved person's ultimate good. Lewis redefines love beyond mere emotion or physical attraction. He presents it as an active, deliberate commitment to the well-being and happiness of another, regardless of circumstances or one's own emotions. This conception of love emphasizes its volitional and intentional nature. It's not seen as passive or merely sentimental, but as a continuous choice to prioritize the loved one's good. This implies a commitment to actions and decisions that promote their well-being and fulfillment, even if it requires sacrifice. By qualifying it as, so far as it can be attained, Lewis acknowledges human limitations and life's realities. He suggests that while love aspires to the highest good for the loved one, it must act within practical possibilities. 22. Do not waste time bothering whether you love your neighbor. Act as if you did, and you will. This quote explores a pragmatic, action-oriented approach to loving one's neighbor, a central idea in many ethical and religious traditions. Lewis suggests that instead of being paralyzed by internal analysis of our feelings or doubts about our ability to love others, we should simply start acting as if we love them. This principle reflects the idea that love can be both an action and a feeling, and that by choosing to act lovingly regardless of our momentary feelings, we can cultivate genuine feelings of love over time. 23. C.S. Lewis's statement, "No man knows how bad he is till he has tried very hard to be good," delves into the intricacies of human nature and self-discovery through moral endeavor. Lewis proposes that it's in our earnest attempts to live ethically and do good that we truly confront our shortcomings, limitations, and negative tendencies. This insight suggests that our understanding of personal flaws is heightened when we challenge ourselves to live virtuously. The process can be humbling, as we realize that goodness and virtue are more elusive than we might have imagined, thus revealing the depth and persistence of our imperfections. 24. Lewis's assertion that, in God, there is no hunger that needs to be filled, only plenteousness that desires to give, presents a profound theological perspective on God's nature and his relationship with humanity. This view portrays God as a being of absolute fullness and perfection, devoid of needs or lacks. Instead, God is characterized as an infinite wellspring of generosity. This concept starkly contrasts with human nature, which is often driven by needs, desires, and a constant quest for fulfillment. God is depicted not as seeking anything from us to complete or enhance his being, but as motivated by an expansive and generous love that seeks to share his own abundance. 25. Lewis's observation, "If a person thinks she is not conceited, she is very conceited indeed," addresses the paradoxical nature of self-perception, particularly regarding pride and vanity. He suggests that being overly confident in one's humility can, paradoxically, be a sign of deep-seated pride. The very act of considering oneself free from vanity can itself be a manifestation of vanity, as it implies a satisfaction with one's supposed moral superiority or self-control. This insight highlights the complexity of human nature and the challenge of achieving genuine humility. True humility, Lewis implies, is not about denying one's faults, but about honestly recognizing them. It involves sincere self-assessment and an acknowledgement that as humans, we are all susceptible to error and pride. 26. Pride is spiritual cancer. C.S. Lewis's portrayal of pride as a spiritual cancer emphasizes its destructive nature in one's spiritual and relational life. This metaphor suggests that pride corrupts and consumes one's ability to love, find satisfaction, and exercise good judgment. Lewis presents pride not as a minor character flaw, but as a corrosive force capable of destroying fundamental aspects of human and spiritual well-being. Lewis further elaborates on this concept by explaining how pride obstructs knowledge of God. He illustrates this with the image of a proud person always looking down, both literally and metaphorically, judging others and circumstances from a position of supposed superiority. This downward gaze symbolizes a self-imposed barrier that blocks sight and openness to higher realities, including the spiritual. Consequently, as long as one remains trapped in this attitude of pride, they will be unable to perceive or connect with God, who is metaphorically above in the spiritual sense. These ideas emphasize that pride not only negatively affects interpersonal relationships and self-image, but also constitutes a significant obstacle to spiritual growth and perception of realities beyond the self. Lewis invites us to recognize pride as a serious impediment to love, genuine happiness, and wisdom, encouraging a constant pursuit of humility as a path to spiritual health and true knowledge. 27. Only the pure in heart want to see God. This quote distills a profound truth about the nature of spiritual longing and the necessary condition for genuinely seeking God. Lewis suggests that purity of heart is not only a quality that makes someone fit to encounter God, but also the very characteristic that awakens the desire to seek Him. Purity of heart can be understood as a cleansing of intentions, an absence of falsehood or duplicity, and sincerity in the pursuit of truth and goodness. This purity involves orienting one's being toward what is genuine and good, free from the distortions of selfishness, pride, and disordered passions that can obscure spiritual vision and deflect the quest for truth. By stating that only the pure in heart desire to see God, Lewis highlights the idea that the desire to know and draw near to the divine requires a certain inner disposition, characterized by purity and sincerity. This implies that the spiritual journey toward God begins with inner work of purification and alignment of the heart's desires with spiritual values. In essence, Lewis's quote suggests that the very longing for God is itself a sign of spiritual purity, and that cultivating this purity is essential for those who wish to deepen their spiritual life and understanding of the divine. 28. Human history is the long, terrible story of man trying to find something other than God which will make him happy. C.S. Lewis's statement about human pursuit of happiness outside of God offers a profound critique of human aspirations and endeavors throughout history. He suggests that the relentless quest for satisfaction in earthly things, be it wealth, power, pleasure, or status, is ultimately futile, as true happiness and peace cannot be found apart from God. Lewis asserts, God cannot give us happiness and peace apart from Himself because it is not there. This highlights his view that any attempt to find lasting contentment outside of a relationship with the divine is doomed to failure, as the true source of peace and joy resides in God alone. He poses a rhetorical question. To what will you look for help if you will not look to that which is stronger than yourself? This invites reflection on the need to seek support and guidance from a force greater than our own limited human capacity, suggesting that reliance on purely human resources or solutions is insufficient to address life's fundamental challenges. Lewis observes that all that we call human history, money, poverty, ambition, war, prostitution, classes, empires, slavery, is the long, terrible story of man trying to find something other than God which will make him happy. This perspective frames human history as a series of failed attempts to find satisfaction in earthly substitutes for God, underscoring the view that many human endeavors and conflicts stem from a misguided search for meaning and contentment. Together, these reflections challenge us to reconsider the sources in which we seek happiness and purpose, encouraging a reorientation towards spiritual values and a deeper relationship with the divine as the path to true satisfaction and peace. 29. Forgiving does not mean excusing. Forgiving does not mean. This quote distinguishes two fundamental attitudes toward dealing with offenses or mistakes. By stating that forgiveness does not equate to excuse, Lewis highlights the importance of acknowledging the seriousness and reality of an offense without allowing it to perpetuate resentment or hostility. Forgiveness, in Lewis's view, implies a conscious decision to release resentment or the desire for retaliation against someone who has wronged us, even when we recognize that the act committed against us was wrong and unjustifiable. This distinction is crucial because it recognizes the responsibility of the offender without allowing that offense to dominate future relationships or the emotional state of the offended party. In contrast, excusing someone often involves minimizing the offense or justifying the offender's behavior, potentially ignoring the harm caused. Thus, excusing can inadvertently enable or validate harmful behavior. Lewis suggests that forgiveness is a deeper act that requires considerable moral strength. It involves choosing to respond to wrongdoing with a kind of mercy that does not deny the injustice of the act, but chooses not to be consumed by it. This approach to forgiveness allows for healing and reconciliation while maintaining moral integrity by acknowledging the gravity of the wrong. Therefore, forgiveness is an act of grace that transcends mere acceptance of others' faults, promoting the restoration of relationships without denying the reality of the harm caused. 30. Thirst was made for water, inquiry for truth. Nay, C.S. Lewis offers a powerful metaphor that underscores the intrinsic connection between human pursuit of knowledge and the nature of truth. By comparing physical thirst for water with the innate desire to understand truth, Lewis invites us to reflect on our fundamental need to seek knowledge and understanding. Just as thirst is a natural condition that drives us to seek water for our physical survival and well-being, curiosity and the desire to understand are fundamental impulses that lead us to seek truth to satisfy our need for intellectual and spiritual knowledge. This comparison emphasizes that just as water is essential for physical life, truth is indispensable for our intellectual and spiritual life. Lewis suggests that our minds are naturally inclined to question, explore, and seek understanding to grow and thrive intellectually, much like our bodies are designed to seek and consume water to maintain their health and proper functioning. 31. Faith is the art of holding on to things your reason has once accepted, in spite of your changing moods. This phrase by C.S. Lewis offers a profound understanding of faith that transcends mere emotional or irrational belief. Lewis suggests that true faith involves a continuous commitment to convictions and truths that have been accepted by reason, even when emotions or circumstances may try to sway us. This conception of faith highlights its active and deliberate nature, not as a passive state of acceptance, but as a constant exercise of will and discipline. By defining faith as an art, Lewis implies that it requires practice, skill, and conscious effort to sustain beliefs in the face of doubt, fear, or uncertainty that may arise with fluctuations in our emotional states or changes in life circumstances. By emphasizing that faith is based on things reason has once accepted, Lewis is also rejecting the notion that faith and reason are mutually exclusive. Instead, he proposes that authentic faith has its roots in rational and conscious understanding, and that maintaining this faith requires a continuous and deliberate return to these rational principles, especially when challenged by ever-changing moods. 32. We meet no ordinary people in our lives. This statement by C.S. Lewis offers a deeply human perspective on the nature of interpersonal interactions and the uniqueness of each individual. Lewis suggests that every human encounter, no matter how brief or trivial it may seem, is an opportunity to connect with someone extraordinary, whose life experiences and perspectives are unique and valuable. This assertion challenges the notion that some people are common or ordinary, highlighting that all individuals have a story, an inner complexity, and a unique potential that make them worthy of attention and respect. Even those who may seem to play mundane roles in our lives can have unexplored depths and inner riches that deserve to be recognized and valued. Lewis's perspective encourages us to approach each interaction with a sense of wonder and respect, recognizing the inherent worth and potential in every person we meet. 33. C.S. Lewis's observation that everyone thinks forgiveness is a lovely idea until he has something to forgive highlights the gap between our idealized perception of forgiveness and its challenging reality. While many acknowledge forgiveness as a noble virtue with moral and emotional benefits, the actual act of forgiving becomes far more complex when we're personally wronged. This quote exposes our tendency to romanticize forgiveness when we're not directly involved in conflict. However, when faced with genuine hurt, we often discover that forgiveness is a demanding process that tests our emotional resilience, self-perception, and core values. The transition from theoretical appreciation to practical application of forgiveness reveals its true difficulty, challenging our preconceived notions about our capacity to forgive. 34. Lewis's definition of integrity as doing the right thing, even when no one is watching, emphasizes the importance of aligning our actions with our moral principles, regardless of external oversight or potential consequences. That true integrity transcends mere rule-following or social conformity, rooting itself in deeper ethical considerations. It implies making morally sound choices, even when easier or more advantageous alternatives exist. The emphasis on acting ethically without witnesses underscores the significance of genuine authenticity and consistency in behavior. This concept portrays integrity not as a facade for social approval or avoiding punishment, but as an inherent quality that fundamentally shapes our conduct across all aspects of life. 35. Lewis's statement that children are not a distraction from more important work, they are the most important work, challenges the notion that child rearing is secondary to other pursuits. This perspective elevates parenting to a position of paramount importance, framing it as a primary responsibility and privilege rather than a competing obligation. Lewis argues that nurturing children should be the central focus for parents, emphasizing the profound influence they have on shaping future generations. This view suggests that parental care extends beyond meeting basic needs, encompassing the nurturing, education, guidance, and loving support necessary to prepare children for life's challenges. By recognizing child rearing as the most crucial work, Lewis underscores the transformative power of parenthood in molding responsible, compassionate adults and shaping society's future. 36. C.S. Lewis contends that a truly exceptional children's story should captivate readers across all age groups. He posits that the finest children's literature transcends age boundaries, offering universal appeal through elements like imagination, adventure, wisdom, and emotion. This perspective suggests that well-crafted children's stories contain depth and complexity that can be appreciated by both young and mature audiences. By advocating for children's literature that engages adults as well, Lewis acknowledges the enduring power of captivating narratives to educate, inspire, and entertain across generations. He implies that the magic of enchanting stories remains relevant throughout our lives, encouraging a lifelong appreciation for imaginative storytelling. 37. Lewis's assertion that true humility is not thinking less of yourself, it's thinking of yourself less, challenges common misconceptions about humility. He emphasizes that genuine humility doesn't require self-deprecation or low self-esteem. Instead, it involves a balanced self-perception, free from both arrogance and undue self-criticism. The key aspect of true humility, according to Lewis, lies in shifting focus away from oneself towards others' needs and interests. This perspective promotes a spirit of service, compassion, and consideration for others, where self-concern takes a back seat to the well-being of those around us. Lewis thus reframes humility as a virtue rooted in healthy self-regard, combined with a sincere commitment to prioritizing others. The collection of 37 quotes by C.S. Lewis offers a profound roadmap for personal growth and spiritual enlightenment. They emphasize the paramount importance of seeking truth, authenticity, and integrity in our lives, urging us to delve beyond surface-level understanding to gain deeper insights into ourselves and the world around us. Lewis's wisdom highlights the transformative power of empathy, compassion, love, humility, forgiveness, and gratitude, challenging us to cultivate these virtues in our daily lives. These lessons serve as a clarion call for continuous personal development, encouraging us to embrace learning opportunities and strive for moral and spiritual excellence. Lewis's insights suggest that true happiness and fulfillment are not found in material pursuits, but rather in our connection with the divine, in nurturing meaningful relationships, and in selfless service to others. Ultimately, Lewis's teachings remind us that life is an ongoing journey of discovery, a continuous search for meaning, purpose, and transcendence. They inspire us to face life's challenges with courage and determination, to remain steadfast in our pursuit of truth, goodness, and beauty. As we internalize these lessons, we are equipped to navigate the complexities of existence with grace and wisdom, forever changed by the timeless insights of one of literature's most beloved philosophers.